Late last week, it was revealed that the January 6th Select Committee has subpoenaed multiple social media companies, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook, for information regarding the January 6th Capitol riot. And specifically, the January 6th Committee is looking for two separate things from these outlets. One, why'd you allow the extremism to be posted all over your platform? And number two, why do you allow the election lies to be posted all over your platforms? And again, those really are two distinct issues. And here's why these subpoenas are important, but it could end up backfiring. I'll get to that in just a moment. But anyway, in the run-up to January 6th, there were plenty of social media posts basically explaining what was going to happen that day. People threatening to come to D.C. and be violent and to stop the Electoral College certification. We know that because we know those posts were there. We were doing stories on it, as was everybody else, prior to January 6th. January 6th was totally predictable because of what we had already seen, what had been reported on these very social media sites. What did they do? Did they turn this information over to authorities? And I believe that's really what the committee wants to know. Are you doing anything to tamp down on the extremism, the radicalization, they call it, that is taking place on your platforms? Or are you just letting it fly? And I think we all pretty much know the answer to that. It's just kind of being allowed to happen. So yes, I do think these social media companies need to be brought before Congress and they need to answer these questions. Here's why I'm concerned about this. What happens when these companies go before the committee and they say, yeah, we didn't do anything. We just let it go, Sometimes we'd take it down, sometimes we'd block it if it got reported to us. But didn't really do much after that. If these companies go before the committee and do that, that's the worst possible scenario, not for the companies, but for us, for you and me and everybody else out there in this country, because an admission like that is what would eventually lead to mass censorship on these platforms. And that is bad. That is dangerous. If these platforms believe that Congress may have to put some law in place, to hold them accountable for what happens, then we see the widespread censorship. Anything that could be even remotely construed as controversial, as potentially, misinformation, as violent, it's going to come down, even when you're calling it out. And of course, we're already seeing this happen on YouTube. We're seeing it happen on Facebook. More often than not, it's the people calling out the bad behavior and the misinformation from the other side that get banned instead of the person who actually spread the misinformation. And we could see more of it as a result of this. So again, I'm kind of torn. We need the answers from the companies. But if the answers are as bad as we think they could be, that could lead to congressional action that results in mass censorship on these platforms.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.